and go back to the extraordinary speech that Daniel Patrick Moynihan, a liberal Democrat, an Irish Catholic, good New Yorker, who in 1975 is the US ambassador to the United Nations. And he comes into the United Nations and he says, I didn't really have any ties to Israel. In fact, I kind of resented it because some of my academic friends had gotten these cool trips to Israel. I hadn't gotten one. But he sees the attack in 1975 by a coalition of the Soviets and the Palestinians and the Arab propagandists, calling Zionism racism as an attack on democracy and decency, as an attack on the United States of America's best friend, as an attempt to try to get at the United States of America through Israel. And this liberal Democrat, who goes on to represent New York in the United States Senate for 4 terms and fights Ronald Reagan and fights for welfare reform and fights for the Franklin Roosevelt vision in the 1980s and the 1990s, such as it can survive, gives a beautiful speech, a great text to learn from, November 10th, 1975. And one of the things he says, and one of the things we're missing educationally, is he makes 2 moves. He says, 1, what are Jews? Judaism isn't just a religion. Jews are both members of a religion, but also members of a nation, what I call the Oreo cookie, that we have the cookie part and the cream part. We have the nation part and the religion part. And because of that, and because you can convert into the Jewish religion and then become a part of the Jewish nation, the Jews are among the least race-based, the least biologically based, the most permeable, the most welcoming form of liberal nationalism there is. So it's not just that Zionism is not racism, because that echoes the issue, but that Zionism is a form of liberal democratic nationalism. So the first move is making sure we understand that and we can teach that to our kids and to the broader community. The second is, when asked that question, yeah, you can quote Daniel Patrick Moynihan, you can talk about the fact that it's actually a hijacking, and we can also talk about this with apartheid, right? And this comes from a position of tremendous respect for Palestinians. I respect Palestinian nationalism. I will never negate the Palestinian national identity. But that means that it's a national clash between Palestinians and Jews, Palestinians and Israelis. And there are dark-skinned Israelis and light-skinned Palestinians. And if I'm respecting Palestinian nationalism enough to call it a national clash, a nationalist clash, then how can it also be race? And when I see terms like racism, colonialism, imperialism hijacked and injected into the conversation against us, that's not an intellectual critique. That's, I'm sorry to say, a demonization, a delegitimization, an anti-Semitic critique, a negationist critique. The third part is the harder part, which is, how do we ally? We ally by simply saying, and it's kind of basic self-respect 101. I will march with you. I will fight with you. I will fight bigotry in all its forms with you. But that also means fighting bigotry against me and my people. And that's true allyship.